Good morning and welcome to TMI Socials with me, Anuoluwapo Stevens. The social media butterfly. It's now time for us to find out what you have been talking about on the streets of socials. So yesterday it was all over the news and all over everywhere and covered that the US President Joe Biden has announced that he will end his candidacy for re-election, saying, and I quote, "It is in the best interest of my party and the country." Now this comes 4 months before Americans go to the polls upending the race for the White House. It follows weeks of intense pressure from fellow Democrats after faltering debate performance against Republican Donald Trump at the end of June. While following this announcement yesterday evening, President Biden gave his endorsement in the presidential race to Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, in a letter posted on his social media account, he said it had been the greatest honor of his life to serve as president. If we could have the letter that he posted yesterday right now, it would be really super interesting. So that was the letter Joe Biden posted on X yesterday. And also, he also made a tweet, if we could have the tweet now, where he did endorse Kamala Harris as the nominee for the presidential, position for Democrats. Now, before we move over to how you have been talking about it, because I still feel it's still gaining a lot of momentum on social media, let's see 3 instances that Joe Biden goofed.
Well, let me say it as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
Interesting times, I would say, for Americans right now. Now let's take your response on this. This user says, Joe Biden stepped down and endorsed Kamala Harris. Although it came late, it was the right thing to do. I commend him for putting America first. In Nigeria, the geriatric general Cortez refused to step down for a much younger candidate. Buhari or Tinubu should have endorsed Osibanjo. Well, English is plenty in that one. Now, Joe Walsh says, Joe Biden just did something that Donald Trump is humanly incapable of doing. He put his country first. Another take, still in this, Barack Obama has this to say. He says, Joe Biden has been one of America's most consequential president, as well as a dear friend and partner to me. Today, we have also been reminded again that he is a patriot of the highest order. Now, finally on this, Morgan is saying, if Biden's unfit to stay in the presidential race, then surely he's unfit to remain president too. Well, do you think so? Only time will tell. And because right now, the clock is ticking, the time is moving fast, and all roads lead to November 5th, 2024 for the US presidential election. Now, away from America now, let's come down here to Nigeria, where yesterday it was in the news and also trending that a representative of Kanke federal constituency of Plateau State in the House of Representatives, he goes by the name Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, has reportedly gifted his daughter a brand new SUV. Now, the gift was to celebrate her graduation from Lead British International School, Abuja, and her impressive performance in the recent Unified Tertiary Matriculation examination. Well, the recipient, Aisha Gagdi, graduated on Saturday, and the celebratory gift was shared on Facebook by Samunu, who posted pictures of the teenager with her father and of course the luxury vehicle. Now take a look at that wonderful picture. on the screen right now. But let's move over to how you reacted to this particular one. Let's see how it met you online. Haruna says, if at official EFCC are seriously fighting corruption, the source of funds of this member should have been under investigation, because even the non-rich businessmen in Nigeria don't behave in this way. Okay, now this is quite lengthy. This one says, when Otedola gifted his daughters with 3 Lamborghini cars, all you could see on social media was celebration. Why? Because Otedola is a well-known businessman and everyone knows that. He is not representing anyone, so no one will suspect otherwise. And then, but a leader who represents the people does such thing, and it becomes a topic of discussion. I personally don't see anything in this. That's what this guy is trying to say there, a summary of all of the write-up. Away from that now, another take on this. Heidi is responding by saying, graduates are unemployed, the economic hardship is at its highest. No money, no food for the poor masses. The public officials are lavishing our resources on their family and put it to our face that we cannot do anything about it. God indeed will judge. Now, finally on the story, Nigerian politics is the most lucrative business in the whole world. Imagine a secondary school leaver driving an SUV of this nature. Oil money, she says. Well, away from that particular drama, now let's move over to what has been going on with Dangote. So the chief executive officer of Dangote Refinery, Aliko Dangote, has reacted to the allegations that the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that the refinery is producing products of low quality. And then he said many statements was actually being made on Saturday as regards all of this. Now let's go listen to Dangote verbatim and hear his thoughts.
The majority of the population, they are with us. And so we are not discouraged. We'll continue what we are doing. But doing new business, like what you announced, this still, actually our own board has decided that no, we shouldn't do this still, because if we do it, we'll be called all sorts of names, monopoly. And then also imports will be encouraged. So we don't want to go into that. Let other Nigerians also go and do it, because we are not the only Nigerians here. There may be some Nigerians with even more cash than us. They should bring that money from Dubai, from other parts of the world, to come and invest in our own fatherland. Well, everything depends on NNPC, because the OB3 is their own gas pipeline.
Well, it seems to me at this point that Dangote tired is tired. Well, let's see how you take this on socials, or how you took it rather on socials. Now, Dr. Dipo says, a man who invested $20 billion in his country should be commended. Others take their money to Dubai and UK and invest in properties. Dangote creates jobs and pays taxes. He should continue to enjoy the support of the government, just like other players in other key sectors. Now, still on this beat, Nefertiti is saying Dangote is a monopolist, true, but he didn't deserve the horrible treatment. No one demarcates Nigeria more than the regime. And then she went ahead to say what the NMDPRA tried to do to Aliko Dangote Refinery is sabotage. And the fact that Farouk Ahmed still has his job is all the answer that you need. One more take on this one from this user. She says, Dangote has never explained like this before. I have actually never heard him say so many words in my entire life. And then I remember seeing another post where the person was saying Dangote is looking stressed, in the video. Away from that, let's see a viral video where Akpabio boldly asked Senator Ireti why the government should use its funds to refurbish and maintain the market that was burnt down in Abuja. Take a listen.
And the need for safer public places. I urge the FCDA and Abuja Municipal Area Council.
Right, moving over to your thoughts on this. This user, Moses, says, the education the Senate President got from the lady who seconded the prayer is such an appropriate chastening. I'm not sure if he realized it though. Right. And then another one finally from this guy. He says, I expected Akpabio to at least first show sympathy and interest in the lives of those whose businesses have been affected and how to help them rebuild and recover their lost means of livelihood. But that's how a compassionate leader, should have responded. But it's unfortunate he displayed inhumanity. That's what this user said. And then finally on this one, this person says, to be very honest, the submission is a very, very faulty thing. Some submission may be valid, but not right. Senator Ireti should have gone to the people, know how they usually address it in the past, to get intelligence, submit it to the House for review. What is the revenue margin of that particular market? Well, what do you think about all of this, Sonny Duke?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly interested in the Dangote issue because that has a lot of far-reaching implications for Nigeria and Nigerians, as it were. And like someone mentioned that Dangote is looking stressed. Who wouldn't be stressed? I mean,
you agree with the user?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, $20 billion, and now he's seeing all of those investments on the verge of going down the drain. I mean, you should be concerned, you should be bothered, you should be stressed, you should be worried, really. And the government needs to, come up with something to help to assuage the situation for Dangote so the business can come and float, and then he can sustain what he's doing, recover the loans, pay the loans, as it were, and then sustain the jobs. I mean, the man has taken the decision not to invest in the steel industry because of the treatment he's getting now. And that's because over the years he's been accused of being a major beneficiary of the monopolistic policies of the federal government. Right. So perhaps for the first time he's coming to terms with the realities of really doing a business in which some of those waivers that he used to enjoy they are no longer available. But I think the onus is on the federal government to help this refinery to survive because it will go a long way to help the Nigerian oil and gas industry, keep jobs, and perhaps also help to strengthen our foreign reserve, our foreign exchange. That's the reason why prices of commodities are at the rooftop. And then you also talk about the resignation of Joe Biden in the US, and we're waiting to see how the Democrats will respond to this, if eventually they are going to push aside Kamala Harris or they are staying with Kamala Harris, whom he has already endorsed.
Right, but if I'm to ask you, what are your predictions for the U.S. election generally?
Yeah, as it seems today, Donald Trump is really up there as a man to beat. What has happened so far, because I'm not very certain and sure if the American electorate, if they're ready for a female president, and against that background, you just see that things are working together for the good of Donald Trump, because with a man who had to fight the battle of his life with the court case and all of that, we expect that his popularity would dwindle. But you're seeing that in spite of all of this, his popularity is soaring, and multi-billionaires in dollars are pledging support to his campaign. Elon Musk mentioned an amount of money that when you save the money alone, you're probably going to speak in tongues. Just to show how much he loves what Donald Trump represents as far as this election is concerned. So Donald Trump is the man to beat, obviously.
And he's taking the most and making the most out of all of this.
Absolutely. He's a smart guy. He understands the media very well, and he knows how to utilize it to his advantage. Thank you for the segment.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.